We all think we know the rules of the wilderness. Stay on the path. Don't go alone. Tell someone where you're going. But what if the wilderness has rules of its own, and the moment you cross them, you simply vanish? This is a collection of true stories from the Missing 411 files, where people disappeared under circumstances so baffling they defy all logic. Kenny Veach wasn't your average amateur hiker. A 47-year-old miner, he spent his life working and exploring the harsh, unforgiving deserts of Nevada. He was a veteran of the wilderness, and he loved sharing his discoveries on his YouTube channel. In fact, it was his channel that first brought him to the world's attention in a way he could never have imagined. In 2014, Kenny uploaded a video about a strange discovery he had made. While hiking in a remote area near Nellis Air Force Base, he stumbled upon something truly bizarre. A small, hidden cave entrance that seemed to vibrate with a powerful, low-frequency hum. He called it the M Cave, and he claimed that as he approached it, he felt a deep, fear-inducing feeling of dread wash over him. It was a low, guttural thrum that he felt not just in his ears, but deep in his bones. Kenny, for all his toughness, didn't go inside. He was too afraid. He uploaded the video, and the internet was instantly captivated. Viewers left comments, some skeptical, others urging him to go back and investigate. He responded to these comments, saying he would return to the area, this time with a friend and a camera. He promised to finally go inside the M Cave, but that was when things got truly strange. Kenny didn't take a friend with him. He planned his return trip to the remote desert location alone. Before he left, he sent a text message to his girlfriend, Sherian, stating, "If I don't return in a week, please have someone check on me." The message was unsettling, but she trusted him and figured it was just a joke, part of his rugged wilderness bravado. He set out on November 10th, 2014. For the first few days, his journey seemed uneventful. He called Sherian to check in. He was fine. He even texted her on November 11th, a quick message that simply said, "I found the cave." That was the last message Sherian ever received from him. The next day, his phone went dead. Kenny Veach had vanished without a trace. Sherian waited. A week went by, just as Kenny had said. But when he didn't return, she knew something was horribly wrong. She contacted the authorities, and a massive search effort was launched to find the experienced hiker. The search team scoured the area. They found Kenny's motorcycle. Then about 4 miles away, they found his unlocked cell phone near the base of a well, resting on a flat rock. All of his camping gear was gone, but more importantly, his keys were gone too. The search teams found no footprints, no sign of a struggle, and no evidence that anyone else had been in the area. It was as if Kenny had simply walked away and disappeared into thin air. The mystery only deepened when police analyzed his phone. While the phone itself held no clues, the lack of data was baffling. There were no pictures, no videos of the M Cave. There was nothing to show he had ever been there at all. His girlfriend, Sherian, went back to the area to help with the search. She found something the authorities had missed, his favorite hunting knife, lying on the ground near the well. It was pristine, almost as if it had been intentionally placed there. But why would Kenny abandon his most trusted piece of survival gear? And if he had found the M Cave, why was there no record of it? To this day, Kenny Veach remains a missing person. His disappearance is a haunting reminder that in the deep, quiet places of the world, some things are meant to stay hidden. Yosemite. Majestic mountains, towering trees, and breathtaking vistas. A place where people go to reconnect with nature. It was a beautiful summer day in August 1981, and 14-year-old Stacy Aris was vacationing with her family in Yosemite National Park. They were staying at the Yosemite Grant Grove campground. Stacy was an energetic and responsible teenager. That afternoon, she decided to take a short walk from the campground to the stables, a distance of no more than a quarter of a mile. She was looking forward to a horseback ride. Witnesses saw Stacy walking alone along the well-maintained paved road leading to the stables. She was wearing bright clothing, a yellow t-shirt and blue shorts. The time was around 1:30 p.m. The path was open, with clear visibility. There were other tourists and park employees in the vicinity. But Stacy never made it to the stables. When she didn't arrive for her scheduled horseback ride, her family became concerned. A frantic search began almost immediately. Park rangers and volunteers combed the area. They searched the trails, the surrounding woods, even the nearby creek. Despite the immediate and extensive search, they found absolutely no sign of Stacy Eerie. No footprints leading off the path, no dropped belongings, nothing. It was as if she had simply vanished from the face of the earth in broad daylight. The disappearance of Stacy Eerie remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in the history of Yosemite National Park. How could a teenager vanish in such a short distance on a well-traveled path without leaving any trace? The search continued for days, involving hundreds of people and even search dogs. The dogs were unable to pick up Stacy's scent beyond a certain point on the road. It was as if her presence just stopped. The sunlight still dappled through the canopy, the birds still sang their songs, but in the heart of that peaceful forest, a child's presence had been erased as cleanly as a blackboard. There were no credible witnesses who saw anything suspicious, no reports of a struggle or any unusual activity. The terrain around the path was not particularly treacherous, and an extensive search of the dense underbrush yielded nothing. What makes Stacy's case even more baffling are the complete lack of any plausible explanations. Kidnapping seemed unlikely given the open area and lack of witnesses. A fall or accident should have left some kind of evidence. And Stacy was known to be responsible and unlikely to wander off. Decades have passed, and the fate of Stacy Eerie remains unknown. Her disappearance continues to haunt the memories of those who were there, and serves as a chilling reminder of how easily someone can vanish in even the most familiar of settings. What unseen forces could have been at play that day in Yosemite? If you're enjoying the video so far, please like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. The Appalachian Trail. Over 2,000 miles of rugged wilderness stretching across the eastern United States. It attracts experienced hikers seeking challenge and solitude. The disappearance of Geraldine Jerry Largay is a haunting example of how quickly a well-prepared trek can turn into an enduring mystery. In July 2013, 66-year-old Jerry Largay, an experienced hiker, embarked on a section hike of the Appalachian Trail in Maine. Her husband, George, was supporting her journey, meeting her at prearranged points along the way to resupply her. Jerry was in good spirits and enjoying her adventure. On July 22nd, Jerry left her campsite at Poplar Ridge and texted George, saying she was heading to the Spalding Lean-To, about 8 miles away. The hike was considered relatively easy. The weather was fair. The next day, July 23rd, Jerry texted George again. This time, the message was different. Lost GTG Cheetah Twill. Lost, gotta go, talk to you later. George immediately tried to call her, but there was no answer. Concerned, George drove to their planned meeting point, but Jerry wasn't there. He reported her missing, and a massive search operation was launched involving hundreds of volunteers, Maine Warden Service personnel, and search dogs. Despite the extensive search, which covered a vast area, no trace of Jerry Largay was found for over 2 years. For 26 months, the disappearance of Jerry Largay remained a heartbreaking enigma. Then in October 2015, a logging contractor surveying land near the Appalachian Trail, but significantly off the marked path, discovered a collapsed tent. Inside were Jerry's remains, along with her journal and some personal belongings. Her journal provided a poignant, albeit incomplete account of her final days. She had indeed gotten lost relatively close to the trail. Her entries indicated that she had attempted to retrace her steps and find her way back. but had been unsuccessful. The last entry was dated August 6th, 2013, about 2 weeks after she sent her last text message. While the discovery of her remains answered the question of her fate, it also raised even more unsettling questions. Jerry was an experienced hiker with a fully charged cell phone when she got lost. Why couldn't she get a signal to call for help? The area where her tent was found, while off-trail, was not impossibly remote and was eventually located. Why did search teams, including those with dogs, miss her for so long? As one of the main wardens put it, "We searched 100 square miles, and all she needed was a couple 100 feet." That single quote highlights the heartbreaking, close but so far reality of her case. The exact reasons for Jerry's disorientation and her inability to find her way back to the trail remain unclear. Some speculate about a medical issue, while others point to the disorienting nature of dense wilderness. However, the fact that her remains were found so far from the trail and missed for so long in a heavily searched area adds a layer of unease to this tragic story. Did Jerry simply succumb to the wilderness after a wrong turn, or were there other, more inexplicable factors at play in her prolonged disappearance and the difficulty in finding her? A family outing. A beautiful day in the Colorado mountains. Children playing, laughter echoing through the trees. In a blink of an eye, that joy can turn into unimaginable terror when a child vanishes without a sound, leaving behind a mystery that continues to baffle investigators decades later. This is the heartbreaking story of Jared Atadero, a 3-year-old boy who disappeared during a seemingly innocent hike. On October 2nd, 1999, 3-year-old Jared Atadero went for a hike in the Big Thompson Canyon near Estes Park, Colorado, with a church youth group and several adults. The group was walking along a relatively easy trail near the Big Thompson River. Jared was a happy, energetic little boy, wearing a bright red t-shirt. At one point during the hike, the children began playing a spontaneous game of hide-and-seek near a large, fallen log. The adults were supervising nearby. Jared ran towards the log, seemingly to hide. A few moments later, when the other children emerged from their hiding spots, Jared was nowhere to be seen. The adults immediately began searching. They called his name, scoured the area around the log, and checked the nearby river. Panic quickly set in as it became clear that Jared had vanished. In the initial frantic moments, the adults assumed he might have wandered a short distance. But as the minutes ticked by with no sign of the little boy in his bright red shirt, a terrifying realization began to dawn. Jared Atadero was gone. The disappearance of Jared Atadero sparked an intensive search and rescue operation. Hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement officers, and search dogs descended on the Big Thompson Canyon. They searched the steep terrain, the dense forest, and the fast-flowing river. Despite their efforts, no trace of Jared was found for over 2 years. Then in June 2002, a shocking discovery was made. The partial remains of a small child were found several miles upstream from where Jared had disappeared in a very rugged and remote area. These remains were later positively identified as those of Jared Atadero. Some of his clothing was also found nearby. The discovery of Jared's remains, while providing some closure for his family, only deepened the mystery surrounding his disappearance. How did a 3-year-old boy wander so far over such difficult terrain without being seen or leaving any earlier trace? The area where his remains were found had been searched multiple times in the initial days and weeks after he went missing. His father, Alan, would later testify that his son's sneakers were found with every minimal wear, raising questions as to whether Jared had actually walked all that distance. Furthermore, the condition of the remains and the scattering of his clothing raised questions that have never been fully answered. There was no definitive cause of death determined. The circumstances suggested something other than a simple case of a child wandering off. The case of Jared Atadero remains a haunting and heartbreaking example of a seemingly impossible disappearance in the wilderness. The image of a little boy in a bright red shirt vanishing in the blink of an eye continues to fuel speculation and unanswered questions. What truly happened to Jared Atadero in the Big Thompson Canyon? Was it a tragic accident, a predatory animal, or something far more inexplicable that took this young life? From a seasoned hiker's premonition of a vibrating cave to a child's last game of hide-and-seek, these cases are united by a common thread. People vanished in places they should have been safe, leaving behind clues that make no sense. The woods hold their secrets tight, and in the world of Missing 411, the most terrifying thing of all is not knowing. What are your thoughts on these cases? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you want to delve deeper into the unexplained and the eerie, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Ghostlight channel.